Have you ever wondered what ALS is? Let's delve into this topic. ALS stands for Amyotrophic Lateral Sclerosis, a name that might sound a bit complex, but let's break it down. Amyotrophic signifies no muscle nourishment. When a muscle doesn't receive nourishment, it atrophies or wastes away. Lateral indicates that the disease affects the areas in the spinal cord where portions of the nerve cells that signal and control the muscles are located. And sclerosis means scarring or hardening, the hardened nature of the spinal cord in the later stages of the disease. ALS is a progressive neurodegenerative disease, which means it gets worse over time. It primarily involves the nerve cells, or neurons, in the brain and spinal cord that control muscle movement. These are known as motor neurons. In ALS, motor neurons die, and the brain can no longer initiate and control muscle movement. As the disease progresses and motor neurons die, the muscles they control become weak and eventually non-functional. Imagine not being able to move your arms or legs, or even speak. That's the reality for many people living with ALS. But it's important to note that while ALS affects voluntary muscle movement, it typically doesn't impact a person's ability to think, see, hear, smell, or experience touch. The impact of ALS is far-reaching. It doesn't just affect the individuals diagnosed with the disease, but also their families, friends, and caregivers. It requires a significant shift in lifestyle and often necessitates full-time care and assistance with daily activities. So ALS is not just an acronym, but a complex medical condition that affects many lives around the world. As we continue this discussion, we will explore the symptoms, causes, diagnosis, treatment, and management of ALS, as well as what it means to live with this disease. It's a challenging journey, but understanding the condition is the first step towards fighting it. What symptoms does ALS cause, you may ask? Let's delve into this. ALS, or amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, is often insidious in its onset. The symptoms can be subtle at first, but become more pronounced as the disease progresses. One of the most common symptoms is muscle weakness. This isn't your typical feeling of being tired after a long day or a strenuous workout. It's a progressive weakness that worsens over time, often starting in one limb and gradually spreading to others. This could mean difficulty in carrying out everyday tasks like holding a cup of coffee or even walking. Next, we come to muscle twitching, a symptom that is more than just an occasional involuntary movement. People with ALS might notice twitching in their arms, legs, shoulders, or tongue. This twitching, medically known as fasciculations, is often the result of nerve damage caused by the disease. The muscle weakness and twitching can eventually lead to more severe difficulties. Some people with ALS may experience problems with speaking or swallowing. This happens when the muscles used for these actions weaken. A person might start to slur their words or have a hoarse voice. They might find it hard to swallow food, with choking or coughing during meals becoming a common occurrence. But here's the thing. The symptoms can vary greatly among patients. Some might first notice difficulty with speech or swallowing, while others might first experience muscle weakness or twitching. The order in which these symptoms appear can be different for everyone, making the disease somewhat of a chameleon in its presentation. Yet understanding these symptoms is crucial. It's like piecing together a puzzle. Each symptom helps to create a clearer picture of what's happening in the body, leading us closer to a diagnosis. And with a condition like ALS, where time is of the essence, recognizing these symptoms early can make all the difference. Recognizing these symptoms early can lead to prompt diagnosis and management. Now, you might be wondering, what causes ALS? Well, the precise cause of amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, or ALS, remains elusive. However, there are several hypotheses in the scientific community about what might trigger this neurodegenerative disease. Let's start with genetics. About 20% of familial ALS cases, which are cases where the disease runs in families, have been linked to mutations in a specific gene called SOD1. This gene is responsible for creating a protein that protects the body from damage caused by free radicals. When this gene is mutated, it can lead to motor neuron damage, which in turn leads to ALS. However, it's important to note that familial ALS comprises only about 5 to 10% of all ALS cases. The vast majority of ALS cases are sporadic, meaning they occur seemingly at random without a clear genetic link. In these instances, researchers believe that a combination of environmental factors and genetic predispositions may play a role. For example, certain lifestyle factors like smoking and exposure to heavy metals or agricultural chemicals have been suggested as potential risk factors in some studies. Age is another significant risk factor. ALS is most commonly diagnosed in people between the ages of 40 and 70, with the risk increasing as people age. It's also worth noting that men are slightly more likely to develop ALS than women, though the reason for this is still not fully understood. Despite these potential causes and risk factors, the unfortunate reality is that in many cases, the cause of ALS is still unknown. This makes predicting who will get the disease a challenging task. However, it's crucial to remember that understanding these potential causes and risk factors is key to developing better diagnostic tools, treatments, and ultimately, a cure. While the exact cause remains a mystery, understanding the risk factors can help in early detection and prevention. So let's continue to support the ongoing research in this field, as every discovery brings us one step closer to solving the mystery of ALS. How do medical professionals diagnose ALS, you may wonder? The answer is not straightforward. Diagnosing ALS involves a series of tests and procedures, each playing a crucial role in the process. One of the first steps in diagnosing ALS is conducting an electromyogram, commonly referred to as an EMG. This test measures the electrical activity of the muscles. When the muscles are active, they produce an electrical current, which is usually proportional to the level of the muscle's activity. Abnormalities in these currents can signal a potential problem, such as ALS. Another essential test is the nerve conduction study, or NCS. This measures the speed and strength of signals traveling between two or more points in the nervous system. When ALS is present, these signals may be slower or weaker than normal, which can indicate a problem with nerve function. And let's not forget about magnetic resonance imaging, or MRI. This imaging technique uses a magnetic field and radio waves to create detailed images of the body's internal structures, including the brain and spinal cord. While an MRI cannot diagnose ALS directly, it can help rule out other conditions that might mimic the symptoms of ALS. But it's not just about the tests. A thorough medical history and physical examination are paramount. Medical professionals need to understand the patient's symptoms in detail, how they've progressed, and any other health concerns or conditions that may be present. The physical examination can reveal signs of muscle weakness, spasticity, and other abnormalities that might suggest ALS. In the end, it's a process of elimination. ALS is often diagnosed when other potential conditions have been ruled out. It's a meticulous process, requiring a comprehensive understanding of the patient's symptoms and medical history. There is no single test to definitively diagnose ALS, which is why a combination of tests and a thorough examination are necessary. Diagnosing ALS is a complex process that requires a comprehensive understanding of the patient's symptoms and medical history. It's a journey that requires patience and a thorough evaluation, but it's a crucial step in managing this disease. So, how do we manage and treat ALS? Let's dive into the current methods. It's vital to remember that while there's no definitive cure for ALS at present, the treatments available can help slow progression and improve quality of life. Firstly, medication plays a significant role. Riluzole, for instance, is one of the most common drugs prescribed to ALS patients. It works by decreasing the release of glutamate, a chemical messenger in the brain, which is often found in excessive amounts in people with ALS. By doing so, riluzole can slow the progression of the disease and prolong survival. Another drug, edaravone, has shown promise in reducing the decline of physical function. It's thought to work by relieving the effects of oxidative stress, which is believed to be a factor in the death of nerve cells in ALS patients. But medication is just one part of the equation. Physical therapy is also a crucial component of ALS management. A physical therapist can provide exercises designed to maintain muscle strength and flexibility for as long as possible. They can also help with managing symptoms such as cramps, stiffness, and weakness. Occupational therapy can assist patients with adapting to braces, walkers, or wheelchairs, and speech therapists can help with communication issues that arise as the disease progresses. Breathing therapy is also often required as muscles responsible for lung function weaken. Assistive devices can significantly enhance the quality of life for someone living with ALS. These can range from simple items such as special utensils for eating to more complex equipment like power wheelchairs or computer-based communication devices. Lastly, nutritional support is essential. As swallowing becomes more difficult, maintaining a balanced diet can become challenging. A dietitian can provide guidance on maintaining adequate nutrition, possibly recommending a feeding tube in later stages of the disease. In conclusion, managing ALS involves a multifaceted approach that includes medication, various therapies, the use of assistive devices, and nutritional support. While there is currently no cure for ALS, advancements in research and medical technology are providing hope for the future. What does living with ALS look like? Imagine navigating your day-to-day life, but with an added layer of complexity. Amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, or ALS, is a progressive neurodegenerative disorder that affects nerve cells in the brain and spinal cord. This means that simple tasks like reaching for a coffee mug or walking to your front door gradually become more challenging. Living with ALS is not just a physical journey, it's an emotional one as well. The diagnosis can be overwhelming, and the progressive nature of the disease can lead to feelings of fear, anxiety, and uncertainty. This is why psychological support is so crucial. Therapists, counselors, and support groups can provide invaluable help in coping with these emotions and fostering resilience. But it's important to remember that you're not alone. The role of caregivers in the journey of an ALS patient cannot be overstated. These dedicated individuals could be family members, friends, or professional healthcare providers. They assist with daily tasks, provide emotional support, and advocate for the patient's needs. Their role is pivotal in enhancing the quality of life for someone living with ALS. The journey with ALS is also about adaptation. It's about learning new ways to communicate, to move, and to engage with the world around you. Assistive technology plays a huge part in this. From communication devices that help people express their thoughts to mobility aids that assist with movement, these technologies can help maintain independence and dignity. Finally, we should acknowledge the communities of support that exist for those living with ALS. From online forums to local support groups, these communities offer a platform for sharing experiences, gaining advice, and finding encouragement. They remind us that even in the face of adversity, we are part of a larger human family. Living with ALS is challenging, but with the right support and resources, patients can lead meaningful lives. Let's take a moment to summarize what we've learned about ALS. Amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, or ALS, is a progressive neurodegenerative disease that affects nerve cells in the brain and the spinal cord. This relentless disorder causes muscle weakness, disability, and eventually leads to death. Despite its devastating impact, ALS is often misunderstood and underdiagnosed. We've delved into the symptoms of ALS, which typically start subtly and progress over time. Initial signs may include muscle weakness, particularly in the arms and legs, speech problems, and difficulty swallowing or breathing. As the disease progresses, these symptoms become more severe, leading to significant disability and dependence on others for daily care. Understanding the causes and risk factors for ALS is crucial in our fight against this disease. While the exact cause remains unknown, a combination of genetic and environmental factors appears to play a role. Certain genes have been linked to the disease, and some studies suggest that people with specific risk factors, such as a family history of ALS or exposure to heavy metals or pesticides, may be more likely to develop the condition. Diagnosing ALS can be a complex process, as there is no single test or procedure to definitively identify the disease. Instead, doctors rely on a series of tests, including neurological exams, electromyography, and nerve conduction studies, along with a careful review of a patient's medical history and symptoms. When it comes to treatment and management, it's important to remember that while there is currently no cure for ALS, there are ways to manage symptoms and improve quality of life. Medications can help control symptoms such as muscle cramps and difficulty swallowing, while physical and occupational therapy can help maintain mobility and independence for as long as possible. Living with ALS is undoubtedly challenging, but with the right support, it is possible to lead a fulfilling life. Support groups, psychological counseling, and palliative care can all play a role in helping patients and their families cope with the emotional and physical challenges of the disease. As we conclude this journey into understanding ALS, let's remember that knowledge is power. The more we understand about this debilitating disease, the better equipped we are to support those affected and contribute to the search for a cure. I encourage you to share this video to raise awareness about ALS. Even if it only reaches one person, that's one more person armed with knowledge, one more potential advocate in the fight against ALS. Understanding ALS is the first step in combating this debilitating disease. Together, we can make a difference in the lives of those affected by ALS. Before we wrap up this video, I want to make a simple request. If you found this content informative and useful, please share it with your friends, family, and social circles. Educating others about ALS is a powerful tool in our fight against this disease. Also, consider subscribing to our channel. Your support helps us create better content and reach more people. By doing so, you are not just supporting us, but also joining a community that is committed to raising awareness about ALS and other important health issues. Remember, understanding ALS is the first step in combating this debilitating disease, and together, we can make a significant difference in the lives of those affected by ALS. Thanks so much for your time and for watching this video. I look forward to seeing you in our next one.